is not uncommon. Yeah, there are high rates of what they call self-medication among individuals with mental illnesses, and it's not uncommon. Actually, it is very common actually to see a co-occurrence of a serious mental disorder and also a serious become a huge problem. And what's really dangerous about that is substance use actually exacerbates mental illness. So it can be cyclical that they're using drugs or alcohol to try and deal with the symptoms of their mental illness, but it's actually making it worse. And the substance abuse also serves to really, there's a violence risk, but also someone who's suffering from mental illness begins to abuse drugs or alcohol, the results can be disastrous. The two combined produce a much higher risk factor for violence and criminal behavior. Ramsey Scrivo would often self-medicate. He would drink in an attempt to ease the stress-inducing symptoms of his mental illness disorders. What were his regular treatment methods? I was aware he had a drinking problem. I knew he was drinking from his teenage years up. The anxiety was particularly bad. He would self-medicate. Does that mean abuse drugs? Well, I don't think he ever used drugs. It was more alcohol was his drug of choice. He would self-medicate with alcohol, right? You know, a lot of people with medical issues, when they're not taking their meds or particularly stressful time, they'll resort to that. Based on the letter temporarily over the years, he would call me if he was having an issue. And I would do, including, writing letters for him, that type of thing, trying to help him get off probation. So, I guess what we're talking about is drinking habits. Would he drink every day? I don't know. So, maybe you're not so familiar with his drinking habits. I know he drank on occasion, and he would call me if he had an issue. So, I knew drinking was a problem for him. As to how many drinks a day, I didn't live with them. Ramsey's mental state worsened after the death of his father, Dan Scrivo. Shortly before Donna moved in with Ramsey, her husband, Dan, passed away after a long battle with hepatitis C. On the day after his father's death, Ramsey Scrivo was checked into a hospital by his family members, who were concerned that he might be suicidal and may have ingested one of his father's bottles of morphine. No morphine was found in Ramsey's system, and he was released. In the months after Ramsey's father's death, one of the neighbors noticed that Ramsey's behavior was becoming more erratic. It just really declined. He would get in fights. He was getting in fights. Did you say he was getting in fights? Are we talking about street fights? Yeah, bar fights. He was drinking a lot more. How do you know the difference between drinking after his father's death and before then? Why was he getting more fights? And he was telling me that he's just drinking more. I just saw the decline in his behavior. It just wasn't as rational. So you did see some slipping. And you did see some increase in drinking. Would you ever, afraid of him? No. And Donna was apparently concerned about how Ramsey was handling the death of his father. I first met Donna in her home. I had scheduled an interview with her son, Ramsey. That is the voice of Sheila Miller, who met Donna and Ramsey while interviewing to become Ramsey's legal guardian. She was very concerned about her son, Ramsey, because he had a history of mental illness, and there was a recent death. Her husband and Ramsey's father had died. And when that happened, it seemed to really exacerbate his symptoms of mental illness. He was more depressed. He had apparently said something that made her concerned that he might harm himself. She thought that he was suicidal, and she felt that he really needed protection, just to stay safe and to stabilize his mood. That the grief was just too much for him. Donna herself petitioned for guardianship of Ramsey during the spring of 2015, despite Ramsey's insistence that he did not need a legal guardian. According to Donna's sister-in-law, this might not have been the best idea. Did you become aware that Donna had filed a petition through the court system and received guardianship over Ramsey? Yes. Did you think anything positive or negative about that? Again, I just didn't think it was a good idea. I thought maybe someone less close to the situation would be a better guardian. Myself, his brother Jay. Donna loved Ramsey very much, but they had a difficult relationship. Sometimes there would be arguments, and she was having a lot of trouble coping with my brother's death. So I just thought that maybe someone less close to the situation would be a better fit. A volatile situation. 235-pound man suffering from various mental impairments and abusing alcohol. Having his 110-pound mother, who he often didn't get along with, move in with him and petition for guardianship of him. The entire situation exacerbated by grief due to the loss of Ramsey's father and Donna's husband. In July, we learned there was a fire in Donna's house, and Donna moved in with Ramsey. Did you have, I guess, any sense about how that was going to work out? Did you hear about that? I thought it was not a good idea. I offered Ramsey to stay at my house. He was working on my house. I thought Donna was having a lot of trouble coping with my brother's death. She and Ramsey, they loved each other, but it was a difficult relationship, and my brother was always a person running interference. So it just didn't seem like a good idea. She was very distraught over my brother, and I didn't think that it was a good idea. In September of 2013, Ramsey was hospitalized again. He had taken a crown out of one of his teeth in an attempt to remove a speaker which he thought had been implanted. At this point, Ramsey's doctor diagnosed him with psychosis. During this time, Ramsey was also on probation for assault. Donna told St. Clair Shore Police that led to his probation. He explained to me it was approximately a year ago, it would have been in 2013 sometime. Ramsey had a friend, Frank Warner, that Ramsey and Frank Warner and a couple of other people had been out for an evening and had been drinking, and that Frank Warner either hit or pushed Ramsey, causing Ramsey to fall, and subsequently Ramsey hit his head on the concrete, which created a injury. Did she indicate why Ramsey was now on probation? Yes. She had stated that Ramsey apparently found out that Frank Warner was his best friend, that he went up there without provocation, punched Frank Warner in the face. Ramsey then left. I believe that he got in a car and that there was an accident, a one-car vehicle accident at the Shore Club, which is located within 1,000 yards of Fishbone's best friend. Donna also claimed that this incident had a negative impact on his mental health and behavior. She indicate to you any changes in behavior in Ramsey from the time that he was injured by Frank Warner several years ago up till the time that he was placed on probation, up until the time he went missing? Yes. Donna had told me that after Ramsey had suffered this head injury, his behavior became very erratic. He would yell for no reason. He would just have, in general, erratic behavior, and that he would obsess about an evening of the initial fight that he had between Frank Warner and himself. This fight he continuously obsessed over, and now the head injury and increasingly erratic behavior were signs that things were not right with 32-year-old Ramsey Scribo. Nonetheless, family took solace in the fact that it appeared that Ramsey was taking his probation seriously. There was an incident where Ramsey had a fight where he went to high school with, and I think the whole family was very supportive because a component of that probation was no drinking, which he really followed. Ramsey was doing everything he could to get off probation. He stopped drinking. That Christmas, when the family got together, Ramsey asked for Coke instead of a beer. He was taking his medication. He was diligent about making all of his required appointments. He talked to one of his neighbors about wanting to go back to school. Ramsey seemed like he was in control of his symptoms, and things were starting to look up. According to a neighbor, Ramsey's behavior was fairly normal, if not just a bit socially awkward. I mean, this guy, he's been out for my birthday, he's come over to my pool for New Year's Eve, so he's been around a few times, and he's hung out with guys. Yeah, he's hung out with me and my friends. My friends think that he was just weird, he didn't know how to talk to women or something, you know what I mean? But other than that, just socially awkward, but he was completely normal dude. He wasn't like a psycho. That's why I don't like that they say that. What was going on in that home? What was going on with Ramsey? Wasn't taking his meds because of his probation, but he should probably talk to somebody, and I think he checked himself in September. Meds, let's talk about meds. How close were you and Ramsey? Very close. Were you aware that he had been placed on probation for an assault? Yes. Were you aware that he had been prescribed medication for the anxiety disorder? Yes. Were you aware what medication was he prescribing? I don't know. Exactly what medication. He told me the name of it. It was anti-anxiety medication. It wasn't Xanax. It was one that did not have addictive properties. They have antidepressants, anti-anxiety medication, like SSRIs, that don't have addictive property to them, like Xanax. And he indicated, we talked about that, why he had become addicted. Would you talk, I guess, during the time that he was on probation about his probation? Yes. Were there times he called to ask you questions about his probation? Yes. Were you the one he called when there was violations? Or the potential for being violated? He worried. He would call me that he missed one. I just told him, go and do a blood test. And he would follow my advice. That's what I do. Prior to his being placed on probation, I guess, were you aware of his drinking habits? Yes. What were they like? My brother and I were very close, so he worried about Ramsey drinking. There was an incident where he got in a fight with a guy he went to high school with. And obviously you knew Ramsey. Yeah, I never knew his last name. We spoke more when he got that insurance job, because I work for an insurance company. So, and was trying to start insurance. But he was always friendly, always say hi. Did you see him out back or in front of the house? Both. You saw Ramsey Wednesday the 22nd and Thursday the 23rd. Are you pretty positive about that? Yes, because I didn't go to work those 2 days because of the weather. Do you know what time about that was? First day, I want to say it was like 4 in the afternoon.